minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Today is Tuesday, August 26, 2025, and I'm Shemadia presenting. In the headlines, former President George Weah Institute's 23-member committee for CDC new state-of-the-art national headquarters construction as the party's leadership threatens legal action against government for unlawful eviction and demolition of former national headquarters. Vice President Jeremiah Cohn and Nima County supposedly political godfather, Senator Samuel Koga, fall apart ahead of 2029 general and presidential elections, as Koga accuses Cohn of bad influence and unilateral appointment of local officials. And also in the news tonight, LDA director suspends its deputy director for operations over leaked audio in which it demands immediate release of drug traffickers apprehended and detained along the Kakata Highway. Away from home, the head of the Malagasy king killed by French troops during the colonial era war has been formally returned to Madagascar. Botswana has declared a public health emergency as it faces a shortage of essential medicines and medical equipment. This plus a news bulletin, voices of those making the news at our package. We'll take a short break to be right back. Welcome back at this juncture with John Semanjus with the news bulletin.
Former President George Weah has constituted a 23-member National Headquarters Construction Committee for the construction of CDC, new state-of-the-art National Headquarters. The committee, headed by former House Speaker Councilor J. Fonati Kofa and co-chair by Magibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill, is expected to ensure the construction of the party headquarters within a year. CDC, in a press release issued under the signature of its political leader George Weah, announced the committee following the government August 2010 demolition of its national headquarters in Congo Town. The release named former Speaker Kofa as chairman, Magibi County Senator Miguel co-chair, former Foreign Affairs Minister D. Maxwell Kimaya, advisor in former local boards, Len Eugene Nanwe, and national coordinator. Others appointed to the committee, former Public Works Minister Ruth Coker Collins, who serves as technical advisor, Waipesi Yeke, Oliver Kine, Councillor Garrison Yellow, and Isaac Doe, among others, will serve as members. The release stated that former President George Weah and the political leader of the party has mandated the committee to establish subcommittees where necessary and work collaboratively to ensure the completion of the new headquarters within 1 year. At the same time, the former party, Congress for Democratic Change, has threatened legal action against the Liberian government over what it described as unlawful eviction and demolition of its former national headquarters in Congo Town. The party's move follows strong public criticisms from its political leader, who accused the administration of Joseph Yuma Bwaka of interfering in a legal process that led to the controversial eviction and destruction of the party's property. Speaking on OKFM Monday, former Maritime Commissioner and Chief of Office Staff to ex-President George Weah, Len Eugene Nangwe, confirmed that CDC is preparing to take legal action against the government to ensure those involved in the destruction are held accountable. Mr. Nangwe noted that the action of the law enforcement officers during the eviction and destruction violated standard legal procedure. He argued that the action by the law enforcement officers during the eviction and destruction contravened normal eviction procedures, described in it as a calculated ploy by the government to deny denigrate the Congress for Democratic Change and undermine its public image. Ahead of the 2029 general and presidential elections, Nima County vote-rich political atmosphere appears uneasy as Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn and Senator Samuel Koga fall apart. Senator Koga, elected in April this year, replaced Nima County political godfather, deceased Senator Prince Yomi Johnson, at the Liberian Senate. Prior to the burial of Senator Prince Johnson, traditional rituals signaling Nima traditional chiefs and elders' blessings of Samuel Koga, which indicated the turning over of Senator Johnson's traditional title to Koga, was displayed. However, the newly elected senator and Nima supposedly political godfather has accused Vice President Jeremiah Cohn of what he calls stepping on Nima's neck and unilaterally appointing government officials of the county. Speaking in an interview with an online TV, Senator Samuel Koga expressed frustration of Vice President Jeremiah Cohn, accusing him of exerting control and undue influence over Nima County. Senator Koga claimed that despite discussions held between him and Vice President Jeremiah Cohn, he often ignored his recommendations and acted independently. The Nima County Senator criticized Vice President Cohn for not getting him involved in important decisions making, stating that as senator, he should have authority over the county, not Vice President Jeremiah Cohn. A leaked audio recording has surfaced implicating Mayor Abraham Pine, Chief of Operations at Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, in a series of cases of alleged abuse of power and obstruction of justice in illegal drug-related case. On the evening of February, that's August 25th, social media platforms were flooded with shares of recording. The audio, which began circulating on social media before being confirmed as authentic by law enforcement sources, captured a voice believed to be Palm pressurizing a subordinate officer at LDEA office in Carisburg to release several drug suspects who had been detained along the Kakata Highway. Meanwhile, the Director General of Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Anthony Sua, has suspended Chief of Operations Abraham Pine following the emergence of the audio allegedly implicating him instructing the release of his daughter. In a release issued Tuesday, LDEA boss frowns on the alleged action of his deputy. According to him, if proven, and undermine the integrity of the agency, will lead to severe consequences. Former pro tem of the Liberian Senate, Ahmad Jalla, has called on Information Minister Jerry Pia and human rights lawyer Councillor Tiawan Gonglo to end their public exchanges of personal attacks and focus on substantive national issues. In a statement issued Tuesday, Jalla expressed concern over the ongoing war of words between the two public figures, cautioning that the public is at risk, undermining what should otherwise be a constructive national dialogue. According to him, as a lifelong advocate for institutional integrity and issue-driven public service, he has observed with deep concern the ongoing exchange between Minister Pia and Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, saying while both individuals bring with them decades of national service and earn respect, their current public space threatens to reduce what should be a valuable dialogue into a cycle of personal attack. Police in Grambassa have confirmed the arrest of two men in connection to the alleged murder of a motorcyclist, Ruben Samuel. Samuel, aged 23, was reportedly killed on Saturday night. in God Bless You Hill community in Grand Bassa County. The police on Tuesday announced the apprehension of 19-year-old Matthew Weir and 22-year-old Prince Sumo, both of whom are residents of Morovia following an intense security operation. The local police authorities say the suspects were arrested with a black Boxer motorbike bearing the same serial number identified by the victim's family during the investigation. Meanwhile, the two men have been placed in police custody awaiting further investigation. Local GSM vendors in parts of Montserrat County have raised concern over what they call officer GSM end-time vendors are individuals who are involved into selling Orange and Lone Star minutes across Liberia and normally use megaphones for local advertisement. The business don't serve rural Liberians due to lack of job opportunities as a major source of income for several Liberian families. Speaking to King's FM Tuesday in Morovia, several of the minis sellers narrated their experiences on a daily basis, including alleged harassment and embarrassment from police officers. Liberia's Health Minister, Dr. Luis Poto, has called on African countries to build what she termed a stronger and more resilient health system, urging member states of the World Health Organization African region to unite in confronting the continent's present health challenges. Delivering remarks at the 74th Regional Committee meeting of the World Health Organization African region in Lusaka, Zambia, Dr. Poto congratulated the newly elected WHO Regional Director for Africa, describing the election as a resounding reflection of the trust and confidence that African member states have in the leadership capacity. She underscored that Liberia and other member states were particularly encouraged by the alignment between the two leadership strategies and their respective national health agendas. Dr. Luis Poto noted that such priority will be critical in accelerating progress toward these sustainable development goals, universal health coverage, and the African Union Agenda 2063. Residents of Johnsonville are expressing growing fear and concern over the government's recent migration of a huge number of drug addicts at the Liberia Repatriation, Resettlement, and Reintegration Commission for temporary rehabilitation. The residents noted that the presence of the disadvantaged youth in the community is posing serious threat. According to them, their daily routines have been disrupted since the arrival of the youth, adding that they no longer feel free to move about. Several of the Johnsonville residents have claimed witnessing group of Zogos jumping over the fence of LRRC and roaming the community at night. The Secretary General of the Pele Water Incorporated, Alfonso Pay, has underscored the need to fight against substance abuse and drug abuse across Liberia. According to Pay, the fight against drug abuse requires a collective effort of every Liberian to educate and rehabilitate the youth that are involved in the intake of dangerous substances. KWR Secretary General called on all well-meaning Liberians to report drug cases to the relevant authorities in order to eliminate drugs within the country. He made the remarks when he served as facilitator during a day-long training organized by the Impactful Youth Alliance of Liberia in Johnsonville. For his part, the chief executive officer of Impactful Youth Alliance of Liberia, Augustine Taylor, said the training was organized to create awareness on substance abuse and drug abuse at local community. According to Taylor, his institution focused on impacting the young generation positively through mind and education that will enable them to become useful citizens. Grand-Bassa County Senator Gwezonga Finley is urging Liberian students who are studying in Rwanda to focus and avoid challenges of distracting themselves from their goals. Speaking at the induction ceremony of the Liberian community in Rwanda, Senator Finley shared his story of overcoming setbacks, including 2 Senate election losses, before achieving success in his political career. According to him, tough times will come and go, encouraging them to stay focused no matter the constraint. Senator Finley, at the same time, gave US $500 to the Liberian leadership in Rwanda and pledged an additional 1,000, bringing his total contribution to 1,500 aimed at boosting student activities and leadership efforts. The senator message was an encouragement, reminding students that determination and resilience are the key to achieving their dreams, no matter where they are. And Liberia permanent representative to the International Maritime Organization, Robert Pade, has disclosed that Liberia is expected to host IMO conference in September of this year. According to Robert Pade, the conference is intended to bring together over 40 countries, member states, together aimed at managing their respective resources across Africa. He added that the conference will bring economic benefits to Africa, especially in putting their resources together and finding solutions for environmental climate change. The Liberia permanent representative to the International Migration Organization said the 2025 International Conference keynote address will be delivered by President Joseph Boakai. According to him, the conference will focus on investment, trade, and cooperation among African states.
Simon Juice with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. Hey, reminder, you listen to King's Newsroom for the 5 minutes news about Liberia, Africa in our one word. One of the stories we're following tonight, former President George Weah Institute's 23-member committee for CDC New State-of-the-Art National Headquarters. The party's leadership threatens legal action against government for unlawful eviction and demolition of former national headquarters. We'll take a short break to be right back. Congress of Democratic Change has threatened legal action against the Liberian government over what it describes as unlawful eviction and demolition of its former national headquarters. The party's move follows strong public criticism from its political leader, who accused the administration of President Joseph Boakai of interfering in a legal process that led to the controversial eviction and demolition. Speaking on OK Monday, former Maritime Commissioner and Chief of Staff to ex-President George Weah, Len Eugene Nangbe, confirmed that the CDC is preparing to take legal action against the government.
Belief, and this is why we're also going to sue the government, including the police, for destruction of property, for violation of privacy, and the rest. You know,
you're also going to sue the government.
A whole separate lawsuit. We have to do it because we have to show these people that we have laws in Liberia. Whether they will violate the law is up to them, but posterity has to record that these things happen. They happened in the full glare of the public. We saw what they did. We saw the police officers going, trying to take the market women properties, trying to steal. And then these are the same people that say they found ammunition and gun in the place. And it belongs to people. Right now, they have adopted some citizens that are in jail. Tomorrow we'll be filing a writ of habeas corpus to free them. They have been tortured as I speak. And it is unfortunate that our country has gone to this level where you go and grab people just because they were present while you are carrying out an illegal invasion, because I don't want to say eviction, because that wasn't an eviction. And you grab them, and today they are torturing. You don't carry arm, man. You have to take your return. The sheriff has to take his returns to the back to the court to say, I want to enforce this eviction and I met resistance. That's the first step. Before the court can determine what force or what support it needs. Did that happen?
Well, according to the police, they were written by the court
but I'm saying, but was it the right way? Was it the right way? Because they did not file a return. They did not present any eviction notice. They did not serve any eviction notice. They were serving at the same time, breaking down things and beating people. That's not how an eviction is done. And people are laughing. They say, "Oh, it's CDC." Look. Let me say something to you. There were governments that have more arms, ammunition, and more military people than the UP. And this is why I was with former President. We're in Accra.
Len Yugi Nambwithe speaking. Ahead of 2029 general presidential elections, Nima County, Liberia's second vote-rich county political atmosphere appears uneasy as Vice President Jeremiah Cohn and Senator Samuel Koga fall apart. Koga, elected in April of this year, replaced Nima County political godfather, deceased Senator Prince Yomi Johnson at the Liberian Senate. Prior to the burial of Prince Johnson, traditional rituals singling Nimba traditional chiefs and elders' blessings of Samuel Koga, which indicates the turning over of Senator Johnson's traditional title to Koga, was displayed. However, the newly elected Senator Nimba's supposedly political godfather has accused Vice President Jeremiah Cohn of what he calls stepping on Nimba's neck, unilaterally appointing government officials of the county.
But my disappointment is, number one, that the vice president often tell me, since he got a seat as vice president, how many persons have I recommended in this government to serve in the government as presidential appointee? 0. Every appointment in the Makande was done by him. 0. I don't want to name names. He and I will discuss something as a brother. To implement it, you will bypass me and do different things. I don't talk on it. Because he listening to the people that gossiping to him, that Koga will fire you. But he's not looking at the time he myself became representative, what we used to do together. But people now who want to get close proximity to him, he listening to them more. That's the situation today. Look at what happened in this number 5. If my brother sincerely want to work with me, he's not listening to gossip. And we're working in harmony with respect to each other. You don't think he's supposed to call me and say, my man, the election here, why you're thinking? Because you are the one over there. Anybody that I recommend, I will declare support for that person. It's a dumb deal for me to knock my chest in the district and say, we're carrying the person. And the vice president said, no objection. The senator who came from there, the senator of the county say that the person, one party mandate will support the person. But on the contrary, that we agree on something, you deviated from it. Those of you that say that are young folks over there, if I had gone over ready to challenge that I will support Agosi Mekwa by all means, or I will support Koto Boribadi by all means, openly declare, and he's supporting Koto, how the world will look at us. So as an elderly person, I decided to waive everything and say I will not do it. I will be neutral. My neutrality was based on endurance, but I was hurt and felt disgrace in my own district. So I'm not against him, but he doesn't want to lead the neck of Nimba County. When you are elected as a senator, it is a full responsibility to take charge of the county. Not vice president, not president. Do you guys want me to sit supinely and be happy when this such a thing is going on? Then what made me senator? Even the party that the old man left for all, may so rest in peace. I'm looking there like an ostracized person. You mean dignify me? You want to tell me I'm not organized? Why you think the Nimba people elected me as a senator? And that respect is not given to me. But for now, I'm looking up to the president because I told him my dissatisfaction. If you look into it, fine. If he doesn't look into it, fine. I don't back and blow. In my life, I will never honor anybody in my life. When you do me wrong, I'll tell you straight. You like it, you take it. You don't like it, you what they call. You want to reconcile, we reconcile.
Nimba County Senator Samuel Koga. A leaked audio recording has surfaced implicating Mayor Abraham Pay, Chief of Operations at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, in a serious case of alleged abuse of power and obstruction of justice in illegal drug-related case. On the evening of August 25, social media platforms were flooded with shares of the recording. The audio, which began circulating on social media before being confirmed as authentic by law enforcement sources, captured a voice believed to be paid, pressuring a subordinate officer at the LDA office in Carisburg to replace or release several drug suspects who had been detained along the Kakata Highway.
Now. I live in Haiti, I'm going at you. No, you don't say so. I'm telling them. Keep the phone. I'm not going there. Going there, leave the phone. The judge says, all I'm not going to for. Your command call you. I'm calling. Did you pick up my daughter? No, what? Keep it like you are. Yes, don't feel like they're first you when they call you. What I will talk to you. Hello, Daddy. Hello. Can I tell you, below you over there? Yeah. They below you? Yeah, they below you. They still beating you about it? Yeah. They still beating me now. They below like this. Where be you? I won't be you. I won't be you. Not too long. How you just me, Jason? When you call me, we coming to the audio. My question to you, yeah? How she addressing right now? What she said? She said, no, she said, hello, Daddy. Is that what she said? Yeah, but let me see. Won't do it, and I'll see if I'll call you right back. You are getting joy. You are taking off for an answer. She's telling you to a talking dog. But so far, she was phone the ghetto? Yeah, and she was in your house with him, man. She was see you around. You were partying on God there. But one year ago now, I believe in it. She was one naked there. But the guy had a job outside the market. He put up his distance and fought the other guy two back from her. One year ago, I was coming when he saw the man attacking her. I had a joy and then I told him to back for him. That guy's my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir, Chief. She's my daughter. You have so well to her sister, let me bring her home. You know what I'm saying? Chief, 1 minute, let me talk to you, sir. Yeah, what you want to say? Chief, I had 2 hours out my back home. That's all you have to get later on. You have to people when I say, really, my daughter. Hello. Okay, Mr. Hello. Yes, hello. Yes, sir. Really talk to her sister, let me bring her home now to me. No, listen to me. You guys don't let me just say that. Okay. I said, really talk to her sister, let me bring her home now. I want to talk to kids right now. What's that? Don't she? The man who you arrested with the truck? Wait. I said, release my daughter now. Keep the man and the kid. No, you know what I mean? No. So you cannot release my daughter? What you say? Okay, you can't be so guarantee what? People here. Let me do my own piece of job to guarantee what you. Oh, you told me, I mean, you told me before I should give you my key away. I come with you. Wait for me.
Leaked audio implicating LDEA Deputy Director for Operations Abraham P. Meanwhile, the Director General of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Anthony Soa, has suspended the Chief of Operation Abraham P following the emergence of the leaked audio. Every morning you listen to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Following tonight from President George Weah Institute's 23-member committee for CDC new state-of-the-art national headquarters construction as the party's leadership threatens legal action against government for unlawful eviction and demolition of former national headquarters. Vice President Jeremiah Cohen Nimba County supposedly political godfather, Senator Samuel Koga, for a part ahead of 2029 general and presidential elections. Koga accuses Cohen of bad influence in the lateral appointment of local officials. Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency Director General suspends agency's Deputy Director for Operations, Abraham P., over leaked audio linking him to the release of drug traffickers, away from whom the head of a Malagasy king killed by French troops during a colonial-era war has been formally returned to Madagascar. Botswana has declared a public health emergency as it faces a shortage of essential medicines and medical equipment. We take a break to be back with more voices. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Local GSM vendors or airtime vendors in parts of Moserado County have raised concern over what they call officers of the Liberia National Police continued seizure of their megaphones. GSM airtime vendors are individuals who are involved into selling Orange and Lone Star minutes across Liberia and normally use megaphones for local advertisement. Speaking to King's FM Tuesday in Monrovia, several of the minute sellers narrated their experiences on a daily basis, including alleged harassment and embarrassment from police officers.
I heard people I said 2 days. I only in video and people also so far. So they're getting the phone. And so far last week, I guess so many of my friends took them there from them from there. Yeah, so now my brother saying he was in but I also came to them good from but now he's scared about new from because you want to go back you are free live on edge. So many of my brothers down what side. So many of them are from. I was there yes, I only my brother scared for. So now you saying only your brother you are putting just some of them carry me up when you put in the class. He's very easy. So making now scary. Yeah. So sometimes when they got the megaphone, how can you give people money? How can they get it back? That so then when they see me up some officer in his side when he clear but so then he request for money. Say that he have money, when he have money, he may almost for pound ya for pay that he got for lesson there you got to pay money or to the pound like taking the president. Yeah, so we will get to your government for the side for all. Yeah. So before I leave you, tell us you think what the reason people say you actually use the captain? It's a reason why you have some other people they say how they have causing all this all over for the city, but you need
The local GSM airtime vendors are speaking to King's Evan reporter Kwame Brown. Health Minister Dr. Louis Kpoto has called on African nations to build what she termed as stronger and more resilient health systems, urging member states of the World Health Organization African region to unite in confronting the continent's pressing health challenges. Delivering remarks at the 74th Regional Committee meeting of the WHO Africa region in Lusaka, Dr. Kpoto congratulated the newly elected WHO Regional Director for Africa, describing the election as a resounding reflection of the trust and confidence that African member states have in his leadership capacity.
Let me start by thanking His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia and his cabinet for hosting us in Lusaka, the very beautiful capital city of Zambia, and for the meticulous preparation put in place for the RC 75. And also, we should warmly congratulate Professor Yakub Janani on his election as the new WHO Regional Director for Africa. Your election reflects the trust and confidence that African member states have in your leadership capacity, your vision, and proven commitment to advancing public health in our region. Your manifestos, which lay out a clear and pragmatic roadmap for transforming health outcomes in Africa, is both visionary and deeply rooted in the realities we face as African countries. We are particularly happy with the alignment between your strategic priorities and the national health agendas of both these or African member states. Your focus on health system resilience, particularly primary health care revitalization, emergency preparedness, equity, and local innovation, resonates strongly with our collective aspirations. I strongly believe that these priorities will be critical as we strive to accelerate progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals, including universal health coverage in the African Union agenda.
Meanwhile, Dr. Boto pointed to disruptions in child immunization programs challenging and combating preventable diseases such as tuberculosis, HIV, and AIDS, and malaria, and a growing struggle to secure sustainable financing for substantial services.
The recent shifts in the global development aid landscapes are having significant impacts on Africa's development, particularly in the areas of delivery of essential services such as childhood immunization, prevention and control, prevalent diseases such as AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Additionally, the shrinking donor envelopes and shifting geopolitical priorities continue to affect our ability to sustainably fund.
Here, Minister Dr. Louis Boto. Residents of Johnsonville are expressing growing fear and concern over the government's recent migration of a huge number of drug addicts at the Liberia Repatriation, Rehabilitation, Reintegration Commission for temporary rehabilitation activities. The residents noted that the presence of the disadvantaged youths in the communities pose a negative impact.
Since the border, I've been seeing them outside. They jump over the fence, and as you can see, the backside of the whole place in that fence. Anybody can get outside. They not able. No, the security, the border, they not able there. That's also DA security. Bring people that will be able to guard the guys. When you just bring them to an open place, that was embarrassing us. They had to go for some of them. Yesterday, I was sitting at an entertainment place here. I met more than 4 or 5 of them were sitting there. But on a daily basis, they are outside. So it gave you a hard time. It embarrassing us. So like for me, yesterday when I was even going to church, I was forced to tell one of my children to stay home because of the way in which we are living here now. So the recommendation too, government, if you say you rally for the guys, be prepared, but don't embarrass us. I am saying government, if government say they rally to change the guys, they should be prepared. They shouldn't embarrass us because we've been living here. We are now observed, they kind of eye, but now we are in embarrassment. People just up and down. You pass, so you see Zogo, you pass, so you see Zogo. It's not doing something that it looking strange. It looking strange. It makes some, oh, we don't go anywhere now. I go to work, I worry. So I beg government, let it work on that. Where they will just be jumping up and down. Even the slippers, the best spring, which they're giving them, they jumping, they getting outside selling it. So you can keep the kind of people here. You want harm the community. You're not helping us. You're not helping Liberia. You want to harm this country. Take the guys somewhere where you're able to maintain them, but not in a place where you will make them, other community dwellers, be embarrassed.
A resident of Johnsonville there speaking. The Secretary General of the Kwele Water Incorporated, Afonso Pay, has underscored the need to fight against substance abuse and drugs across the country. According to Pay, fight against drug abuse required a collective effort from Liberians to educate and rehabilitate the youths that are involved in the intake of dangerous substances.
In saying no to drug, we need to educate people as to how to say no to drug or how to rehabilitate those that are already involved into taking drugs. I highlighted a few things that we lecture on today. Basically, our lifestyle. Our lifestyle contributes basically 50% of our health outcome that have to do with how we carry ourselves, peer pressure, and other things that lead people into addiction. Here we make emphasis on medication.
Secretary General of the Kwele Water Incorporated, Afonso Pade. Away from home, the head of the Malagasy king killed by French troops during the colonial era wall has been formally returned to Madagascar. The handover of King Toura's call and those of 2 other members of his court took place at the ceremony at the Cultural Ministry in Paris. These skulls had been brought to France at the end of the 19th century and stored at the Museum of National History in the French capital. And Botswana has declared a public health emergency as it faces a shortage of essential medicines and medical equipment. President Doma Boko made the announcement in a televised address on Monday, setting out a multi-million-dollar plan to rectify the supply chain involving military oversight. Managing the shortages would be highly price sensitive due to our limited coverage, he told the nation. Well, on that note, that's how we come to this end of news. But before we leave, a quick reminder of stories we followed in the headlines. Former President George Weah Institute 23-member committee for CDC new state-of-the-art national headquarters construction as the party's leadership threatens legal action against government for unlawful eviction and demolition of former national headquarters. Vice President Jeremiah Cohn and Nimba County's supposedly political godfather, Senator Samuel Kuga, fall apart ahead of 2029 general and presidential elections. Kuga accuses Cohn of bar influence in unilateral appointment of local officials. He also heard in the news Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency Director General suspends agency's Deputy Director for Operations. Abraham paid over leaked audio linking him to the release of drug traffickers. Away from home, the head of the Malagasy king killed by French troops during the colonial era war has been formally returned to Madagascar. Botswana has declared a public health emergency as it faces a shortage of essential medicines and medical equipment. And thanks to our reporters, correspondents, and all those who helped in making this edition of King's Newsroom a success. Sam Andrews brought you the news bulletin. Newton Topa sat at control and handled the technical aspect of this edition. On behalf of the team, I'm Shema Dea. I present it. Thanks for listening and watching.